Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we had the season simulation, and to our surprise, we ended up being one of the best teams in the entire NHL. We won our division with a 50-25-7 record, and now we're going to be taking on an interesting San Jose Sharks team that didn't have the best regular season, but they made the playoffs. They haven't been good in their last 10 games, so I'm feeling like we might end up getting knocked out here in this first round, but I really hope that is not the case because obviously we do have some guys that likely will retire this offseason. This is our team right now. Obviously, you can see Parrott's dropped off a lot, but he ended up having a 46-goal season this year and 84 points. So that was his most amount of points, I believe, in a decade since he had this season in 35-36. So, yeah, it was a really good year for him. Also, Miles Claxton is likely to retire this offseason. He had an okay season despite being a 66 overall with 26 points. So that was nice to see. And yeah, likely guys like Derek Keith retire this season too. There's a chance with that because he's dropped down to an 81 overall. Also, Hartnell could be retiring in the next 2 seasons, like in the final season, who knows. But this team has definitely seen better days. However, despite us dropping a lot in overall and all that type of thing, this team had a very, very good season in terms of depth scoring, defensive play. Goaltending was okay. It wasn't insane, but I think our team definitely is still good enough to win a Stanley Cup. But obviously, we're going to run into some tough teams ahead likely. So there is that, and the team we're going to be taking on, obviously, as I just showed you, was San Jose. Let me show you guys the roster again for the Sharks, and then I think we're already going to get into this matchup. I really hope we could manage to win another Stanley Cup this year, but not counting my, not saying that we're going to, definitely, because I feel like our age might catch up to us eventually, but it'd be nice to win a Stanley Cup, considering this might be, or likely will be, Parrott and Claxton's last year's of their career. I don't know about Keith and whatnot, but likely there is a chance we suffer some pretty big retirements this offseason, and potentially in this episode if we are to lose to San Jose. So this is what their team looks like. They do got some good players like Auld and Kravchenko, but their offense in general, I'd say, is kind of weak. They're more of a defensively structured team. They are good on the penalty kill, good on the goals against spectrum, but offensively not as much, and hopefully that's a way we could kind of take advantage of the next years, because if we're a good offensive team like we were in the regular season, there is a good chance we could easily beat them. But if they play good defensively against us and we can't play good defensively like we did during the regular season, then we might run into some problems. So yeah, this is basically their team in general. Good goaltending, or solid goaltending I should say. Their defensive core is a lot better than their forward core, I'd say. A little bit weak with Johan Backer being a 75, but this guy has dropped off a lot, I guess. Was probably a lot better of a player in his prime. Still has good passing and whatnot, so he could probably pick up some offensive numbers. But there is the Sharks, and I think we're ready to go for the start of the playoffs. If we run into any players like really doing bad, obviously I do have depth options I can put in, like Sabrin, Loins, or Lucic. But I don't know if there's going to be any problems yet or not. Worst comes to worst, we could shake up our lines a little bit. I do think I'm going to move Leeson to the second line and move Keith down, though, because Keith had a worse season than Leeson, and Leeson's a more offensively driven player at this stage. Keith is more of the defensive forward, so I feel like having him on this third line might be good for this team in a sense. And the rest of it, though, is going to stay the exact same as the regular season. We do have guys we could call up probably in the AHL if we really want to, like Addison or Schultz. We also do have Butsayev. So there is guys we could call up, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So let's get into round number 1 against San Jose and see if this team could continue what they did during the regular season, or is it going to come crashing down like I think it's going to. Here we go, game number 1. We got home ice advantage likely through most of the playoffs, which is really nice. So we'll see if we're able to take advantage of that. Here we go, first period of game 1 against the Sharks. And it's 1-1. I'll take it. McKinnon scored first for them, so not great on that front. But Lee Gamble, who's a very interesting player, he had 30 fights and 180 penalty minutes in the regular season, but he managed to still have like 50-something points. So he's a very intriguing player. Glad we have him in this series, and he will be signed for pretty much the rest of the series, likely regardless, because he's an RFA at the end of the season. But shots were 16-8 in favor of us after 1, so we are outplaying the Sharks quite a bit, but their goaltender is keeping them in it right now. Can we find a way to get our first lead of the game? Second period, 3-3. I like that our offense is doing good, but theirs is doing better than it should. They were up 3-1 at one point, Pritchett and Atkinson, but Glenn Cross and Avery Parrott scores a playoff goal. Man, Parrott's doing so good for a 39-year-old. Like the 46 regular season goals, and now he's already scoring in the playoffs. You know, Parrott's definitely, I'd say, a first ballot Hall of Famer into this channel's Hall of Fame at this point. But shots are 26-19 in favor of us. It's a 3-3 game. Let's see if we can finally get a lead in this game, because we have yet to have the lead. It's always been San Jose. I've always had to come back in it. And San Jose immediately gets the lead back again. Come on, boys, let's answer. And we do answer. It's Darby. Let's go. And they get the lead for the 4th time in this game. Go. I don't like that their offense is doing way better than it should. Come on, boys. Let's go. Glenn Cross ties it up at 5. Okay. I don't like our defensive play at all in this game, but hey, look at that. Now we finally get a lead. I felt like that was going to change tides. Eventually, Glenn Cross scored, and Claxton scores as a 66 overall. And Claxton gets an empty netter. And we win 8-5 in Game 1. So our offense was definitely there like it was in the regular season. No question about it. But our defense was absolutely terrible in that game. We had fallen multiple times in that game, but we always came back in it. That's why I always felt like we were going to win this game. But it was 1-1 after one. Gamble from Keith and Jansevsky. Then we were down 3-1, and then Glenn Cross scored from Claxton. Parrott scored from Bobkov and tied the game up again. Then they got another lead. McInnes made it 4-3. Then Darby tied it at 4-4 from Leeson. Gove made it 5-4 from his dudes. Glenn Cross tied it up again from Larmour and Claxton. Then Glenn Cross scored to give us our first lead of the game finally at that stage from Danner and Klepis. Then Claxton scored from Danner and Glenn Cross, and Claxton scored from Danner and Glenn Cross. So Claxton, Danner, and Glenn Cross, I believe, all had like multi-point games. Yeah, Glenn Cross had a 5-point game. Was not expecting that at all. Glenn Cross is normally not that type of player. And Miles Claxton, he's a 66 overall. And he had a 4-point game. And a +4 in the playoffs. This is exactly why I re-signed this guy. And why I wanted to keep playing him in the NHL. Unreal stats for a guy that's dropped off that much. Danner 3 points and -2. His points must have been all like power play related. Gamble and a lot of other players had 1 point. Everybody on our roster had points except for most of the defensive core, and then also Hartnell and Vico didn't have any points. Vico had a really rough first game, -3. And then goaltending wise, yeah, Pusher was not that good, but hey, we got the win. Let's just hope that we can play a bit better defensively in the next game and games to do the rest of the games in this series, and maybe even beyond that, because that's not how we play defense in the playoffs. We knew that San Jose was a good defensive team in the regular season, so both of us didn't really play up to our defensive stature. We played till our offensive stature, but not our defensive one for sure. Also, San Jose overperformed in terms of offense in that game, so a little bit of a weird scenario there, but hopefully we could take a 2-0 series lead into San Jose. That would be a great way to start the series. Even though that was a rough first game defensively, I think I'm going to likely keep our roster the exact same for Game 2. So here we go, Game number 2. Still on home ice. Can we take a 2-0 series lead to San Jose? Come on, boys. First period, 1-1 again. Exact same outcome as last game, except for we scored first this time, which is nice to see. Parrott has 2 goals in 2 games now. Even though Parrott and Claxton are both old, both of them are definitely doing their part in the series so far. Gove tied the game up for them. Shots are 12-7 in favor of us, so once again we're out shooting them, but it's an even game. Can we get the lead back in the second period? Second period, 3-1, let's go. Leeson and Vico. Good to see those guys get on the board, especially Vico, since, like I said last game, he was not that good. -3 through 11 minutes, didn't have a single point. But he gets a goal here. And we have a 2-goal advantage going into the third with the shots 23-17. Let's see if we can lock this one down and take a 2-0 series lead headed to San Jose. Power play had a chance, and we don't get anything but Kravchenko scores for the Sharks. Not good. Come on, boys. We need to get that next one. Power play opportunity. We do not convert on it, and San Jose ties the game up. God damn it. And I just knocked my pen. All ties it at 3. And we are going to be going to overtime in game number 2. So this series is a lot closer than I thought it would be. Well, actually, I thought we were going to definitely lose this series, so kind of makes sense. But still, this series is definitely really close in terms of goal scoring. And both teams' defenses hasn't been really there. We had a 3-1 lead, and we've blown it, which is not good. Shots are 33-29 in favor of us, but it's a 3-3 game after 3, so a ton of threes again. Let's see if we can find a way to get that lead back and win this game in OT and take a 2-0 series lead here. Come on, boys. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Parrott and Claxon. And the Sharks win in overtime. We blew a 3-1 lead as Deed scores. And we have the tie series headed to San Jose. That's not a good outcome. I wanted a 2-0 series lead. It looked like we were going to get that, and then we fell apart. I might have to change up some of the defensive stuff a little bit. Parrott from Bobkov and Hartnell. Leeson from Darby and Danner, and Vico from Leeson and Yancevsky. Yeah, some players are really bad minus always in these games. And then the goaltending numbers have not been really that good from Pusher. But I'm going to still roll with him for at least one more game. But we will make some defensive adjustments. Because we've allowed now 9 goals in 2 games, and we've scored 11. And we've scored still a crazy good amount, but the defense has been terrible. Like, we're averaging 4.5 goals against. Which, it's not great. Not great at all. So let's go back up here and see what we could do. Anything we could do to get this chemistry even better? Not really. We could technically move Tulabov down, move Cunningham up. Ooh, or we could technically move Howes up with Smith-Pelly. I like that. Cunningham's an OFD? Yeah, he's an OFD, so I'll move him to the left, to the right side. Tulipov's a DFD, so we'll do that. Yeah, we'll run with something like that. Danner, Klepis could stay together, but Howes and Smith-Pelly now, and then Tulipov and Cunningham. And yeah, we're going to keep Pusher for now, but if he plays another bad game, I might be leaning towards changing that up. The rest of this team's going to stay the same, though, because our offense has been good. It's just been the defensive play that needs to improve. Because we should be playing like we did in a regular season, not this type of defensive style, you know. Okay, let's see if we could get some wins here in San Jose, because we don't want to lose both these games. We want to take at least one of the two. So let's see if we could take one. Come on, boys. Let's see if we could take that 2-1 series lead here. First period of Game 3. And it is 2-1 for us. Derek Heath scores, so that's good to see him show up, because he hadn't scored yet, I'm pretty sure. So another old veteran scoring a goal. Atkinson tied it up, but a short-handed goal from our defenseman Klepis has us with the lead for the first time in this game. Well, not the first time in this game, second time in this game. Shots are 14-8, though, in favor of the Sharks. So the Sharks are kind of outplaying us right now, but we have the lead, surprisingly. Let's see if we can hold on to this lead in the second period, because we haven't been that good with the lead so far. Second period, 3-1. Let's go. We have another 3-1 lead going into the third, but this time around, hopefully we do not blow it. Hartnell makes it 3-1. Shots are 25-21 in favor of San Jose. Can we lock it down this time around and not play like we did last game? Larmour makes it 4-1 with his first ever playoff goal, I think. So that's great to see. We get a power play immediately after, and Danner scores on the power play to make it 5-1. Our offense has been insane in this first round. I don't think it maintains itself in round 2, though, if we get there. I don't want to say that we're going to get there for sure, because we could easily lose the next game. And we're going to win this game 5-1, so that's a much better defensive effort from the team and a great performance from Pusher. And in the offense also continuing to do what it's been doing. We have like 16 goals in 3 games, I think, so we're definitely going to fall apart randomly and not score enough. That's my guess. But Keith from Yancevsky and Vico, Klepis from Gamble and Larmour, Hartnell from Bobkov and Jancevsky, Larmour from Glencross and Claxon, and Danner from Glencross and Darby. That Glencross and Claxon line, like that fourth line, has been insane. Pusher first star of the game, great to see. Larmour second star, and Glencross the third. Glencross has like 7 points in the first 3 games of this series. I'm pretty sure. Which is kind of insane. Because I didn't expect this guy to be that type of player. Yeah, he's got 7 points in 3 games. Whatever, Toby. You do you. You do you. And, what is it? Yeah, we definitely have 16 goals in 3 games. I really hope our offense continues like that, but I honestly feel like it's going to fall apart randomly at some point, either in this round or next round if we get there. But yeah, let's keep on going. That was a good game. Let's see if we could take a 3-1 stranglehold. Or are we going to have a tie series again? Come on, boys. Let's have another good defensive effort here. First period. 1-0 us. That's another good defensive period. Only 1 goal against in the last 4 periods for us. So that is great to see. Darby getting the goal. Shots are 14-12 in favor of the Sharks, but it's still a 1-0 game. Second period. 1-1. The Sharks have tied it up on a goal from the 75 overall, of course, in Johan Backer. They have now the shot advantage 28-19, so they outplayed us drastically in that second, but we're still tied, which is good. Can we find a way to get our lead back in the third period and also not allow them to get a lot of shots? So far, I'd say Pusher's definitely been a lot better in these last 2 games. Let's see if we can get that lead in the third period. Come on, boys. Let's get that lead. Power play for us here in the third period. We do not capitalize on it, but we do get a goal a bit after that power play. Darby giving us the lead with his second goal, I think, of the night. Final 5 minutes of this third period. We're up 2-1, and we are going to lock it down as Aldrich Klepis gets an empty netter. We win 3-1, and we've had 2 great defensive games in a row after 2 terrible ones. Let's go. That was a good game. Darby from Leeson on both goals, and then Klepis from Vico and Keith. And we are 1 win away from going back to the second round after 2 really good games from Pusher. Pusher's all of a sudden playing really good. Darby the second star and Agostino the third for them. Knowing my luck, though, we're going to randomly lose 3 straight games and lose this series, but obviously I hope that's not the case. But we are 1 win away from going to the second round. Didn't think that was going to happen. So I think we're going to keep our team obviously the same, considering that seems like those defensive changes really helped out our team quite a bit. And we've had 2 really good defensive games in a row. And we're still scoring a ton of goals, because now we're up to, I think, like 19 goals in the series in 4 games. Can we end the series tonight on home ice and head to the second round? Come on, boys. Let's get her done. Let's get her done. First period of game number 5, is this now? Yeah, 5, right? Yeah, 5. First period, 2-0 us. Let's go. Jansevsky and Hartnell. I haven't seen Hartnell score that much, I feel like. Jansevsky either. Shots are 12-7 in favor of San Jose, but we have 2 goals on 7 shots, so we're in a good spot right now. Hopefully we can hold on to this lead and get some more insurance. Second period, 3-1. We're in the same spot as we've been multiple times in the series with a 3-1 lead going into the third. Barrett made it 3-0. McDermott gets the Sharks on the board. They're out shooting us 27-19, so Pusher has been absolutely locked in these last few games. Love to see it. Let's see if we can lock this one down and take this series. Come on, boys, just lock it down. Sharks get an early goal from Atkinson to make it 3-2. Power play for us, we do get a power play goal from Leeson to make it 4-2. That's a huge one to respond. Final 10 minutes in, the Sharks score again. Shattenkirk makes it 4-3. Hold them off, boys, hold them off. Final 5 minutes, penalty kill. Late in the game, we kill it off. 1 minute left, and we hold them off by a goal. So they had their best offensive game in a few games, but we do win, and we do win the series in 5 games. The question is, are we going to be able to do that into the next round as well? But we came through with a win. I didn't think we were going to win this series. I felt like we were going to get cheesed, but we managed to win it in 5 games, so that's really great. Hartnell from Parrott and Smith-Pelly, Jansevsky from Gamble, Parrott from Hartnell and Bobkov, and Leeson from Darby and Parrott ends up being your game-winning goal. 3 stars, Parrott the first star with 3 points, Hartnell the second star with 2 points, and then Shattenkirk for them. Our veterans still did really well in that round, I feel like, except for maybe Keith. He might have struggled a little bit, but we do win the first round in 5 games. Let's take a look at our player stats. I don't know if we're going to be able to maintain this type of stat line through the next round, but that was a really fun first round. Really glad that we're able to go on to another round at least. So, Leeson had 6 points, Parrott had 5 points, Claxton had 5 points, Hartnell had 4 points, Keith had 3 points. Really good depth scoring. Keith had a lot of penalty minutes, which is not great, but oh well. Left wing wise, Darby had 6 points, Jancevski had 5 points, Bobkov had 4, Gamble had 3, Vico had 3. Right wing wise, Larmour and Glencross were solid. Glencross had 7 points, Larmour had 3. So everybody on the forward core in round 1 had a lot of points. Nobody below 3 points. So our offense, fantastic. I don't know if it's going to continue that way, but still. Defensively, Danner had 5 points, but was a -5. Don't like the defensive play from Danner, but I do like the points. Klepis had 3 points in 5 games. Really good. Smith Pelly only 1 assist, but +6. Cunningham and Tulipov had no points. They were both +3 and +4. And Howes also had no points, but was a +7. Love to see it. Goaltending-wise, Pusher was really good, especially in those last few games. 4-0-1 with a .915 and a 2.78. That's respectable enough to get us onto the next round. So there is round number 1. Who are we going to be taking on in round number 2? And then that'll be it for this episode. It is going to be... And it's going to be the Vancouver Canucks. Okay. And Vancouver also had an interesting season. They won 45, 33, and 4 in the regular season. So similar to San Jose with the record. Let's take a look at their regular season and playoffs so far. And we'll then take a look at their roster. So, in terms of the regular season, they had 13 less points than us. Because we are the best team in our division by quite a large margin. They were a really good offensive team. They almost scored as much goals per game as us, but their defense was not that good. They allowed the same amount of goals as they scored. Okay. Their power play percentage is worse than us by 4%, though. And their penalty kill wasn't. So their special teams is not super good, but they were good offensively and definitely not good defensively. They did score more short-handed goals than us, though. And they were better on the road than on home ice. How about the playoffs so far? Have they been better than that in the playoffs? Let's go to Western Conference. Let's see. So they won their series in 5 games just like us. They scored less goals per game than us. They were much better defensively in the first round, though. 2.2 goals against per game. So if our offense continues to do what it did, we could win the series. If their defense plays like it did during the playoffs, then they might win. Based on that. Their power play was also really good, 33%. So that's a bit scary. And their penalty kill was way worse than us. We did not allow a single power play goal in that first round. But it's going to be interesting because both teams won their first round in 5 games. Who did they knock out? Because I didn't even really see the playoff matchups. They knocked out Seattle. Let's take a look at what this Canucks team's looking like. What do the Canucks have now? Because it's been a while, I feel like, since we played them. I could be wrong with that, though. They have Jorgen Markstrom. They have Henry Toivonen, who I believe was one of the big free agents in the offseason. They also have Lincoln Crosby, who they drafted last year at 2nd overall. Yeah. Nice. Second line, Thomas Sundqvist, Mitchell Deming, who's a good player they drafted a number of years back, and Aaron Carter. Interesting. That top 6 has some good pieces for sure, but also some weak pieces. Third line, has Kari Järvinen Parhagos, our former man. I know he's been really good, since leaving us. Yep. 71 points last year, but this year 49 points and a -20. Well, it's good to see Hagos again, but hopefully... Wow, he's getting paid a lot. Hopefully he doesn't do anything against us. And Joe Richmond. And then the fourth line of Jude Loynes, Jason Cork, and Demetrius Stolars. So the forward core definitely has some good pieces. I can see why they're a good offensive team, but I really hope that we can find a way to shut it down. Defensively, I could see why they weren't a good defensive team. Gilbert Duret, Adam Sanford, Terrence Kong, Magnus Zetterberg, Craig Frazee, and Bennett Mara. Yeah, that's an interesting defensive core. This guy's dropped off a ton, apparently. A lot of them probably have. It's a very veteran defensive core, except for Sanford, who's only 24. Goalie-wise, they have Pavel Vorobiev. Why do I recognize that name? Anaheim? Montreal. I don't know why I've seen his name recently. He's got an insane first round. He's a good playoff goaltender, so that's a bit concerning. And then Timo Alainen. Depth-wise, they have Mark Morris. Huh. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting first round for sure, or second round for sure. I feel like we definitely could beat them, but then again, we're dropping off a lot too, like some of their players are, so I feel like it could be going either way pretty much. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to round 2 against the Vancouver Canucks as we look to get back to the conference finals like last year. Luckily for us, the Calgary Flames did not make the playoffs this year, which I didn't even realize when they had 2 of the best players in the NHL. So we won't ever have to face the Flames, but there is still some tough teams in this league. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.